types of errors, right? Do you remember us talking about different types of errors?
Um, we're talking about what?
Different types of errors in programming. Different types of errors.
Um, not really.
Don't remember.
Talking about error.
Yes, errors that can happen in a program. Don't remember discussing.
No.
Don't remember. Where we talked about logic errors, logic or semantic errors, syntax errors, runtime errors. Don't remember us discussing something like that.
Mm, I forgot.
Hmm? Like, what are you going to check for? It's not a code. You will not see it among the codes. If you see it, it's just errors that happened when you are doing a program. Of course, there are
Oh,
different kinds of. I mean, we talked about, like, we had a class, we deliberated on different kinds of errors. I think if we can remember very well, I told you that syntax errors are errors that happen as a result of violating the rules of the programming language you are working with.
okay,
Okay.
so.
For instance,
Mm,
you want to do if else, or you want to do any statement in Python that has a block in it, and then you don't put colon in it. Maybe you want to do your while loop. You know your while loop, right? Or your for
yes, sir.
loop.
Yes,
You
sir.
don't put a colon. What will happen? What will happen when you don't put a colon?
Okay, show error.
An error. That error is called a syntax error. Why? You violated the rules of Python. Says that anytime you want to do any statement that has a block, like for loop, while loop, if else, a block of one line, like page, 10 lines, you want to create a function, anything that will have a block, as long as you have to hit enter and then indent. It says that you must put a colon in it at the beginning. So once you put that colon, it will now understand that, okay, what follows can be a collection of statements. If you violate that rule, for instance, you have what is called a syntax error. Syntax is the result of what? Language. Syntax error.
Vamos
Now,
lá, filho. Ainda de mulher.
Come on, sir. I'm coming. My brother sent me out of the room.
maybe you should move out of the room.
Yes, sir. I'm coming.
When you move in, yeah, that laptop doesn't go off.
Yes,
Are you good now? Are you settled now?
yes, sir.
Okay. So what the first one that I just mentioned now, that I just explained now, It's called syntax error. Okay, violation of the rules of the language. Okay, and another violation you can think about is um um the names when you violate the keywords in Python. Something like true now. Instead of you to type uh true as capital TRUE, you go and type it as small letter T. You know, um, that is a violation. Another violation you can think about is um, when you want to uh, what's the okay, yeah, the names of methods. Names of methods usually start with small letters. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir.
They usually start with small letters. Methods like methods of list, like remove, uh, add, all those kind of methods. They usually start with small letters. The moment you go and start typing capital letter as the first letter for the name of a method, just know that it's automatic error. Why? Well, that one is a violation because the method was not created using capital letters. So that one was a violation. Then, there are different types of violations, but let's leave the violations now. Then, the second type of errors you have are semantic errors. Semantic errors. And another name for semantic errors is logic errors. Okay. Now, semantic errors and logic errors are the hardest to find because Python cannot tell you that those kind of errors have happened. Why? Because of their nature. And the reason is that logic errors are because you have a goal in your mind. You as the code the programmer have a goal in your mind. But then you now went and coded something else. So the program, for instance, you expected the program to count from 1 to 10, and your program counted from 1 to 9. I hope you know that Python will not be able to tell you that it counted from 1 to, it was supposed to count from 1 to 10, but you counted from 1 to 9. There's no way for Python to tell you that there's an error there, right?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh. That's the kind of error that you call logic errors. Those kind of ones, it's only you that who know when the error has happened. And how will you know? By testing it. For instance, now you test the program and you discover that the program is only counting from 1 to 9 instead of from 1 to 10. So you now need to tweak some thing in your code to make it to from 1 to 10. Maybe you did not put there was somewhere you are supposed to put less than or equals to. You now went and put only less than. Once you do that, error. Python cannot tell you. It's only you that can tell yourself that, oh, this thing was supposed to be from 1 to 10, but now it's showing from 1 to 9. What do I do to fix it? Once you fix it, you test it again, and then it shows you the correct thing. So, do you understand semantic or logic errors now?
Yes, sir.
That is semantic or logic errors. Like I said, they are the hardest to find because Python cannot tell you. You have to know what you wanted and then find out why program is not giving you what you wanted. Then the third kind of error that I think I told you about is the one that we call runtime errors. Now those ones, there was no violation of the language, um, but something goes wrong while you are running the program. A typical example is while loop. You do a while loop that was supposed to stop at 10, but because you did not put increment, you remember that increment thing, I assignment operator I plus one. Do you remember?
Yes,
Uh, when you omit that increment, what happens? Can you remember what happens?
sir. Uh,
Oh, I remember that's an error you've had. You've seen that error a lot of times. Forget you put your while loop, while I is less than 10, blah blah blah. You put everything inside. Then you now forget to put I assignment operator I plus one. What happens? What happens in that kind of scenario?
You actually look at it, that's true.
Exactly, repeat it.
You have a while loop. Okay.
Yes,
You
okay.
tell while loop the normal I assignment operator zero. You now come to the condition while I less than 10. You put your colon. Everything is in place. You do not violate any rule of Python. You put all the statements inside the while loop. But somehow you forgot to put I assignment operator I plus one. And then you hit enter twice. So it starts again. What kind of error will you see? What will happen?
Um, this will be a forever loop.
A what?
Wait, what's it called again?
Uh,
Like
it
where
will be a
it does not stop. Forever loop.
where forever loop, yes, an infinite loop. And that kind of error, what will happen? The program will continue running, 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 running. And
And do not
you can
stop.
see that yes, it's not a desirable thing that your program does not stop. Why? Because it means that in a critical situation, it can use up all the computer's memory because it's just running on ending like that. You understand? So
Yes, sir.
so whenever you're thinking about these things, think about it even in real cases. Somebody's using a computer, the program now hangs. Because it went into a forever loop. It's not a desirable trait because that means that, for instance, if the person was creating a document and has gone far, and the person did not save, I want you to imagine what can happen because it means that you have to end that program. And in ending that
Restart.
program, lost all the data, all the things that the person was typing, and has to start all over again. You understand? So that is
Yes, sir.
that is a error that happens during runtime. You did not violate your what do you call it, the rules of Python, and then it is not really a logic error because it's not as if you aimed at making it a forever loop and then it was not forever loop. But it happened during the runtime, during execution. Those kind of errors are what? Runtime errors. Okay. So they happen when the program is being executed. Okay. Another runtime error that can happen is you tell the user, okay, enter two integers. One of the integers is a numerator. The second one is a denominator. Now you did not put checks in your program to make sure that the person will only enter zero. That's the person will not enter zero for denominator. And then the program works well when you are testing it. You are putting the right numbers. You never put, when you are testing it, you never put zero in the denominator. Now, someone else now uses it. The person now mistakenly, because they now put zero and your program did not check it. What do you think will happen? It will give you, what do you call that thing? A division by zero error. So that kind of error can stop a program from working. So you notice something about Python errors. They will stop, especially the syntax error. They will stop the program from working. You understand? That's what you call a
Yes, sir.
program crash. You say that you usually say that a program crashes. So it's not a desirable trait. So we usually look for ways to go about taking care of errors. So what I want to explain to you today, or what I want to show you today, is one of those ways, or technically the main way to handle errors or to make your programs to catch errors so that it doesn't crash. So that's what I want. I want to discuss today. And the primary way is a statement that's called try. In some languages they call it try catch, but Python calls it try except. So I'm going to paste something for you. It looks like a simple program, but you obviously know that there's an error. I want you to be able to figure out the error, even if Python doesn't tell you. I'll post it in the chat box now. Um, try except. Okay.
Uh,
All right. Take a look at your chat box. I sent you something.
Good boss.
Have you seen what I sent?
Sure. Dress up, so you got nothing to use for. What? Because I want to bathe. You need to go downstairs or something. I'll call you when I finish. I'm gonna go downstairs, go downstairs. I'm coming, sir.
Yeah.
Just I'm back.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and paste what I sent to you and tell me what you think is the error in this case. But you will see that Python doesn't stop, but just continue. Go ahead and paste it. It may not show you that red, those red lines that will say that there's an error. So, but I want you to be able to know what kind of error, happened. So you can see how the statement starts. The try. What that try is just simply saying is, okay, the code that may have an error coming in. So between try and except, you see the code that may have an error. And then after except, it's what will happen when the error has found, when the error happens. So you do not remove the intent. Your mic is mute, so can't hear you.
Oh, okay.
You muted.
So I know the error.
No, remove the except should not be indented. That except should not be indented. Okay. Then
That is the error because they didn't put a variable, but they still did print X.
they didn't put a variable,
Yeah.
or that the variable was not defined. But try
Yeah,
and line up that your
the variable was not
fine.
defined.
Okay. All
And
right.
but they still printed X.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So go ahead and hit enter. Let's see. So it's just, can you see? It doesn't. Normally, if you had done this same thing, by just saying print X, it will show you red, and the program will uh, so automatically end it, so you see red everywhere. Okay. All right. So let's try. Let's see um another um example. That one that I just told you about, where somebody could have um what do you call it, mistakenly typed a zero. Okay. So let's see. And of course, if an error, do you know that if there was no error, okay, so let's try something else. I'm going to put a situation. Sorry, I mistakenly sent that. Ignore the one that I just sent now. I wanted to let me delete it just. I wanted to do something else there. See, enter. Okay. So I wanted to remove the error. Let's see what will happen if no error was involved. Will it still print exception happen? But it's obvious we know what we are looking for. If no error happens, then nothing will be printed. So let's say X assignment operator 2. Okay, so look at what I just said. It's still code, but this time we we defined this before printing. So can you just put that there? It's not supposed to print that an exception occurred because there was no exception. Can you see what I said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead and put it out there. Yeah? Okay, go ahead. Execute it. Okay, so it printed 2. Okay, so you can see that in this case, no exception happened. All right, so now let's see another scenario where no exception happened, but we now use, a statement to tell us um, that actually there was no error. So look at that one there. You can see that code there. It's supposed to print hello, and if there was an exception, it will print something went wrong. And of course, the else is going to, print if nothing went wrong. Unlike in this one, it just means that you didn't say that nothing went wrong. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, then else. What happened now? Does it take particular to do about himself? Ah, so you can see what happens in this case. Yes, the statement executed, there was no error, but at this time, we now um, have a statement that tells us when nothing goes wrong. So that's another format of how the try except can look. Can try except else. Now there's one that which will execute whether there's an error or not. Okay, so take note of what we have seen so far. We have seen the one that will execute when there's an error, and then the one that will execute when there's no error. Okay, so except will execute when there's an error. What is following the else will execute when there's no error. This one that we're about to do now will execute whether there's an error or not, still execute. And we use it for situations where we need to um clean up. Okay. For instance, I'll show you this code, but then this code just execute it. It may not understand it now. But when we're going to look at files, um it will make sense. It will you'll be able to understand it better. So okay. That guy is indented. That second guy is indented. Notice it's lining up with the end.
Oh,
Yeah, it's indented. That's like this is like a case of a nested try. One try inside another try. That kind of. So the first try is for the first that second try is for the second one which says f dot right. That's the one that is detected for error. Because it's possible that an error can happen when you're trying to open a file, or it can happen when you're trying to write the file after opening it. So that's what that code is basically doing. Okay, you see that except the reason for that error was because the except didn't match the try that it was supposed to be for. Okay. Uh-huh. So that one is supposed to say when something went wrong when writing into the file. Okay. Then the next one now is the finally. And that finally should match with the yes, with the first that extent. Yes. supposed to say f dot close. In other words, it's supposed to close the file. So that's, you can see how finally it's doing its job here. Whether an error occurs or an error doesn't occur, a file needs to be closed after we're done with it. That except should match the first try. Match the first try. The first try, not the second one. The first try. Uh-huh. So yeah. Okay. So you can see what happened. It says something printed something went wrong when opening the file. So this one, the error did not even happen. It did not happen from the inner side. It's from the outer one, the one where it says F assignment operator open. That's where the error happened. So the good thing is that the file did not even open, talk less of closing it. But you can see that if it had escaped happening when we open the file, then we would have needed to close the file because that means it has gone inside to try and write to it. And then it's now found, oh, there's an error. So we need to close it, you know, in any case. So that's what the finally does. So remember what finally does. Finally is whether there's an error or not, it will still execute. Why? Because sometimes we may need it to clean up things, like to close open files and stuff like that. Do you understand what I just explained now?
So,
You understood, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So um um let's see another instance where we can have an error. I told you about the case where um um somebody can type a zero where they are not expecting a zero. So let's just do that one, just like, you know, to show the possibility of, just give me a minute, let me see if I can type that up. Um, what type of error is that? So, okay, so, uh, assignment of it will be, um, not to, uh, uh, okay, all right. So I think we look at the one I just sent. It's another instance where an error could have occurred. That is a runtime error occasioned by division by zero.
I try print it. It's very small.
Line up your print statement. Line up your print statement. You work. Okay. Work is fine. So an exception occurred, and you know what the exception is. Right?
Sir?
I said that an exception occurred. You know,
I should do it again. No, no, not you. Not you. One, keep quiet. Second question. Do this all the
error.
time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I said you know what the error is, right?
Yes. Where?
The denominator in your um in your fraction typically. So you should do your best to um catch it. That's basically the reason why that kind of thing happens.
Yes, sir.
Let me
There's
do not
there's
from.
related to the try catch, and it's called um a raise um
I don't. It's not from this country.
so so that's what I want to talk about next. This is an instance of it. I'm pasting it now in the box. So now, if you look at this very well, you will see, you might be wondering, is there really an error here? But what we use the raise keyword for is to just, um, raise an exception in our code when, for something that we feel is an error. So it may not be an error to someone else, okay, but it's an error as far as we are concerned. Maybe at that point the programmer doesn't want numbers that are below zero. Sometimes we, we tell the person it has to be between 0 and 5, that kind of thing. So that's what happens. So what does it say? What? So numbers below zero. So can you see that you can you can make Python through an error for something that is not technically an error, okay? But you want so anybody that is using your code to know that, okay, as far as your own code is concerned, that thing is an error. But typically, any number you can, a number being less than zero is not an error, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay,
Eh?
sir.
You
Yes, sir.
understand?
Yes,
Eh,
sir.
So this red that I are seeing is not from Python. Let me put it this way. It's not officially from Python. It was because of that raise exception that we put there. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's that's an example of raising an exception for a case where um we don't want numbers that are lower than zero. Okay. So let's see. I think that's basically it for client steps. Any other example would be um,
It's super difficult. She says so. Yeah, she came from.
you
So
understand this material just covered now.
She confirmed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How to try step. Okay.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate the kids.
So
Hopefully soon.
uh, so we didn't have class for a while now, and I want to see how we can meet them. So
Even
come back.
that's a good black number.
Okay. So
Sir,
I'm
can
just
you repeat it, please?
can you hear me?
No, I can hear you, but I cannot hear you that well.
Thank you very much for
Cannot hear me that well. Is it
Yes, I
better
can.
now?
Yes, sir, it's better.
I was saying that we, yeah, I know that we are not supposed to have class today, but then I had to have it because
what
Yes.
so tomorrow by 1 o'clock too. Will it be possible? Can you ask? Do you need to ask Sharon if her system will be available?
Yes, sir, I'll be available.
1 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
1 o'clock your time.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So please remember, and if you need to um tell Shalom to tell me that you are online, please you can tell him to send me a message so that I will know that you are online already.
Yes, sir. What should I save the file as?
Uh,
Yes.
Learning, learning, learning more about uh,
errors, then try Excel. Try
and try
Excel,
search.
Excel,
When I went to
then try
when I went to JD,
Gmail.
Okay, sir.
I tried on those kind of shit. Different color. I just like nine. So now was a bit tight on my leg.
Okay,
So I
sir.
think will find 9.5. But it's just that the night that I have right here,
Shush.
my document
Of course. Okay, sir.
you for that one
Tomorrow.
with cycles. I was skeptical. So it's now I'm skeptical pretty much get 9.5.
We're done.
Nine.
Yes, you're done.
Bye, sir.
Yes,
We
bye.
have a good day.
Okay, for
Bye.
just